I got a page of notes right here. Talk about
Okay.
it's like half a page.
Do they have it actually on the PBA website?
Yeah.
Ooh, the 2019 Go Bowling. All right, cool.
Yep. On the ball.
Right. So what do you think?
I mean, it's great. Like, it's awesome. I think when they first announced the Fox thing, everyone was pretty hyped, and now that they finally kind of showed what they're going to do, I think it's pretty cool. A couple people have called it kind of a back to a normal tour, and I mean, it's a start. It's not. There's still a little. I still have a couple criticisms, of course, but that's just me.
Like what?
Well, let's see. I got the.
Get out the notes.
I mean, like, well, hold on. Can we start with the positives first?
Yeah, let's start with the positive.
Straight to the negative. Why?
Right. I got this all organized. All right, so there's what, 30, 31 shows, like actual shows now, and that's a lot. That's a lot of shows. It is.
a lot of shows.
I mean, I don't know how many we had this year, but it has to be double that, right? Like, I mean, we have tons. I think they said it was like 60 some hours worth, and that's the most they've had in a long time or something like that. 19 live shows, if I'm reading that correctly. So more than half the shows are going to be live. And I know some of the people who talked to me about the PBA or the bowling in general, like some of the criticism comes to all the tape delay, like the thing they're doing now with this tour finals. Someone came up to me and asked about it, and it was kind of like he was kind of mad that it was tape delayed. He's like, "This was filmed a month ago. Like, what's the point of showing it?" I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, it's what they have to do. But so having all the live shows should be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and
especially for the World Series, they're going live every event, right?
I think so.
5 days in a row, they're going live every single night. I think on Fox Sports 1, and then for the World Championship thing at the World Series, they're going live on actual Fox.
And I looked it up too, and some of these events are like the Jonesboro and the Lubbock one specifically, like the extra frame stops. Those are going to be on live television, and that's pretty cool. Like these sort of extra frame events are now going to start being on live television.
Yeah.
I haven't bowled any of these events, but I've talked to everyone. They said that.
So the extra frame events are going to be on live television?
Well, they're not. I don't think they're going to be considered extra frame. Or there's just the Jonesboro Open.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm just calling them the extra frame events because that's what they've been the past couple of years.
Oh yeah. Okay. I see.
So
right
it's almost like
I don't know if they're like upgraded to like the Indianapolis Open type thing, but like that's something that they haven't really talked about yet. But it's still early, so we still have plenty of time. But I thought that was pretty cool, actually.
No, that's definitely cool. I see we're going to Lubbock. That's its own tournament. Jonesboro, it's its own tournament. I do like how we're in the South in January. So January 6th starts all the PBA Hall of Fame Classic, which, do you know what that, I don't know what that is. That could be some like requirement to where, but there's no way they could possibly limit that to being a Hall of Famer of something.
No.
I think
it's just be the way it's
called.
Yeah. That was the thing. Like that was one of my kind of like cons on my list, was that there's still no formats or no information available yet. But that's I mean, they still got stuff to sort out, so I'll give them time. But
and so what they released is just the TV shows, right?
Well, they have like the dates and stuff for all these events too. They just don't have like finalized schedules for the actual events, but they have all the time frames. So like we know where we're going, what time of year, like what date. It's just the final schedules just aren't out yet, from what I looked at least.
Yeah, there's just no formats and it's specific scheduling, but we know it's either going to be from like June 8th to June 13th or January 8th.
Yeah, where it's actually going to be.
Yeah, and where we're actually going, which is really helpful too.
Right. Yeah, so we start out in Texas, January 6th for the Hall of Fame Classic, and then we go to the Oklahoma Open, January 13th, and then January 20th is also in Shawnee. So this is an email I got. Does the actual press release say something different. Okay, yeah. So the Oklahoma Open and the doubles championship are going to be the same thing again.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's just the Oklahoma Open will be live, and then the doubles is going to be the taped show the next week. Yeah. So on the schedule, I'm looking at the schedule right now, and it has them the same week for actual bowling. It's just the TV show is staggered.
Oh.
So like the press release is all the TV shows. The actual schedule is slightly different because some of those shows are taped. So.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So.
But it's pretty cool too, and to continue with the shows, like all the majors are gonna be live too. Like all the major shows.
Yeah. So there's 4 of those, right?
Yeah. So the World Championship, the Masters, the Tournament Champions, and the Players are all gonna be live, which I don't think they were this year, right? Maybe they were.
Which ones?
All the majors.
The World Championship was.
I think they were all live this year too. But either way, like it's still nice to have.
They were all live.
There's it's nice to have those majors live, and that's another good thing to have.
Yeah, I think it's a good step in the right direction in general. You know,
yeah, sure.
A lot. We're adding a few new events, but a lot of the events are the same or have happened in the past. But now we're just condensing it all into a tour.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I mean,
like February is still full of events, and there's even like I have it written down here that there's 4 events, and 2 of them are majors, and then 2 of them are regular events. So like February just got like bigger in a way because it was just 3 this time, but it's a Tournament Champions, Players, and Indianapolis Open, and then Jonesboro right after Indianapolis. So that's another, and those are all live shows, I think, right? I'm not sure, but
they all should be live outside of the doubles, right?
Maybe I don't have the press release up. I just have the schedule I'm looking at right now.
I just have the schedule too. It is gonna be a change of pace though, because now it is more like a tour. I don't know exactly. So you have the January 1st is the Hall of Fame Classic in Texas. From there, we go to Oklahoma directly, pretty much.
Yeah.
We're in Oklahoma for a week, and then we go down to Lubbock. So geographically speaking, that's pretty cool because we can just fly into Texas and then drive up to Oklahoma with a rental car or something, and then drive right back down to Lubbock. But from there is the DHC Japan.
Yeah, that's invite only though.
And then the Tournament of Champions. So for a select few of people, there's a break after the Lubbock Open.
Yeah.
Until the Players Championship, which is February 12th. So there's like a 2-week break for some people. Some people will have to go to Japan, and then the week after that's Tournament of Champions. I wonder how they're doing the Tournament of Champions. I wonder if it's the same thing.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
The regionals, players being able to get in the qualifier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't a very popular topic among champions.
No, definitely not. Especially because
I loved it.
Well, it benefits us, but if you're an actual champion, like, for example, Matt O'Grady won the Tournament Champions this year. He wasn't an actual champion. So the actual champions, the ones who probably technically deserve to be there, weren't so fond of the opportunity of people getting to win an event. Technically, you should. I mean, you're a champion. What do you think?
I won my title internationally, so I'm kind of like in a gray area myself.
Still, though, I mean, it's still.
Yeah.
Like, so O'Grady won, but he was a regional champion, right? Before that, like he's won on the regional.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna tout the regional tour as professional bowling, then why not? I mean, it's not. If you're gonna, you have these layers that you have major titleists, you have national champion, you have regional title, but they're all professional levels. So, I mean, that's the way I look at it. I'm for it. I mean, as long as So we haven't really had a true tour, I guess, if you want to call it that, for the last few years. So it's hard to really.
Yeah, it's hard to win. I mean,
Hard
there's
to
like
argue this, like, and it's hard to win, yeah, because there's not many stops to win, and
Yeah.
they're hard to win as it is.
I mean, if they would have ran the tournament champions as is, they would have had, 25 less entries than they had.
Yeah.
And
the odds of someone like O'Grady, I mean, not to diss O'Grady, but like, I mean, it just happened to work out where he won, but like they did it the years before, and actual champion has won. So I don't know. Like, I'm for it. I think having non-regional champions bowl it or be able to bowl it is kind of like I think that the regional PTQ or whatever that was the one year.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't so much for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, regionals, you beat other pros in regionals, so.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of pros bowl regionals simply because they have nothing else going on, and
I bowl regionals. Yeah, I bowl against Jacob every regional. It's like freaking national stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
If you beat Jacob in a regional in the West, that's basically like winning a major.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, because he would have led the major anyway. So
yeah, exactly. No, I get what you're saying. Like, if a regional champion wins a national event, then so be it, man. He earned it.
Yeah.
Nothing to discredit him for it.
Yeah, it's not an easy feat to do. Obviously, what O'Grady did. So.
Yeah, it wasn't like he wanted not bowling the tournament. Like he bowled it just like everyone else.
And then didn't Andrew made that show, right?
Andrew made the show.
Yeah.
Also, wasn't a champion.
So that jump started him. Like, what if Andrew wasn't able to get in? Do you think he wins the Masters? Like, do you think he has the confidence to win the Masters if he doesn't make the show in Ohio?
That's a good point. I didn't really think about that. Yeah.
But so they go from Lubbock to Japan to tournament champions, and then we go then we're in Ohio and then Indianapolis. So we go from Fairlawn, Ohio, with the tournament champions, and then Columbus, Ohio, to the Players Championship, and then Indianapolis Open in Indianapolis. So they're doing those 3 trio things again, back to back to back.
Yeah, that's awesome, because those are that's even better this year than it was it's better this 2019 than it was this year, because we just go in a row now. We don't have to go to Indianapolis and then backtrack to Columbus.
Right.
So that's even better. That's great. I was really happy when I saw that.
Actually, I didn't. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then the week after that's Jonesboro, which isn't too far from Indianapolis, really. It's 4 hours from here, and Indianapolis is 4 hours, so that's like an 8-hour drive. That's not the worst. I mean,
no, it's not the worst.
It's not the best.
It's not the best, but
it's
there
better
could
than.
be a stop in St. Louis in the meantime. There, come on, PBA Tour.
And they're giving us a day or two to transit too. So.
Yeah, and then after that we go to the World Series.
Yeah, there's a week off there, then World Series.
Huh. Yeah, this is going to be kind of a game changer for a lot of people, because we're on the road a lot. Like,
it's a lot of bowling.
It's a lot of bowling. What happens to people when they have families?
Yeah.
Or jobs.
Well, like, it seems like after February and then of course the World Series, like that's it. Like, it kind of breaks off a little bit.
After the World Series?
Yeah. Because the World Series ends on the 21st, it looks like here. And the Masters starts the 26th in Vegas. So that's 5 days to get to Vegas. And then after that is that PBA playoffs, but that's just limited to 24 people up in Maine.
Is it 24 or 32?
I read it as top 24. It says round of 24. I don't know how they're determining the 24, if it's just off of these events or not.
I'm pretty sure it's just these events.
So that'd be cool. Everyone kind of gets a fresh start and can kind of get into it.
Yeah, definitely. So that's why, I mean, well, yeah. So if you're not, I mean, some people with jobs, how do you justify actually chasing this and really going after it and giving it all a shot? Like, if you have a wife, you're essentially going to be gone all but 2 weeks for 3 months or 4 months. So if you have a family, do you choose not to chase it? do you choose? So they're paying $100,000 for the top prize of the PBA Tour Finals.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but what are the? I mean, realistically, what are your chances of winning that? If right now you have a family and a job, like generally the person that's going to win that probably doesn't have a job right now, and probably also already bowls every single stop anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it like if you have a family, is it worth chasing? I guess.
Right.
Yeah. Belmo probably doesn't have a job right now, and
yeah, Belmo definitely doesn't have a job.
Well,
Belmo's licking his chops right now. We got to get better. We got to beat Belmo.
It's hard. It's not for
know.
lack of trying. I don't know. That's a good question because right now, like I'm kind of in a situation where I don't know if I can do this anymore, and
oh, definitely.
Because like right now, our schedule is we have nothing in the winter. We don't. I mean, after the U.S. Open is over, we have 2 months off basically, right? We have November and December off, so we don't have the World Series this year. And before that, I know personally, I don't really have anything to bowl professionally. The only thing I'm bowling coming up is the extra current event at Parkside. And I'm trying, I was talking to Kyle about, I'm trying to bowl like one more, I think the one in Ohio, I'll be out in that area at that time. I'm trying to swing that. But like, there's nothing to there. So I have to think about like myself, like, I don't know if I can do this. So there's some more bowling tour stuff, but it's so spread out. And then even this stuff that they announced, it only goes till July or whatever. So what are we gonna have? And this is all the shows they have. Like they're putting all their eggs into one basket the first half of the year. So what's gonna happen the second half? Like, is this our season? Is now gonna be defined as January through July, and then the rest is an off season, or what's going on here? And that's something that I want to see answered. Down the road. I'm not like, I don't want to be aggressive. I'm just saying, like, I'm kind of curious what they decide to do with that, since it seems like they used all their shows here in the first 6 months.
Yeah, definitely. There's got to be something. They can't just take 6 months off and expect their players to be happy. But then again, you don't know the conversation that they are having with Fox or what they want, or this could be just a start the year one, and the year two can grow based on what we see profits wise, or if we see profits, or
exactly. Like I'm not like. I'm not trying to like downplay. I think this is great. Like, I mean, who knows? Like, these prize funds could be awesome. Like, I don't know. Let's just wait to see. But the problem is, we're talking about having a job or doing something else. It's like, I mean, I have to, think about my future here, and it's just not. It's just, I don't know. We'll see here in the next couple months, but
we'll just have to adapt. It's I think the tour, as far as like for the TV goes, is going to be interesting because you're just going to be able to watch a show every weekend, so you can like follow your players from week to week to week to week to see how they're doing. It's kind of like with the team deal. I think that's really exciting on TV because every week is like a continuance off the week before, and people are like, okay, like, hey, can't wait to see what happens this week, and then don't tell me what happens next week. So I think it's going to be just with being on TV week in and week out.
Yeah, definitely. I've been saying for a while that consistency allows for prediction, and prediction's what drives a lot of sports nowadays, like fantasy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like without fantasy, what would sports look like now? Well, like everyone's mindset has changed when it comes to sports. You can bet on everything. And so I think we talked about this in the last podcast, that it's almost impossible to bet on the PBA because you just have no clue. So this brings that. And I'm sure Fox knows that. I'm sure Fox knows that in that regard that needs to happen. So that's probably why they're putting all their eggs in one basket. But who knows? Maybe Tom's like, well, we need something for the end of the year. Or, I don't know. Who knows their conversation that they're having.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They could have something all planned out and just finalize. I was just saying that was a point I wanted to make that I noticed, and it just kind of caught my eye that it just kind of ends in July. So I was curious what's going to happen. Like, I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, no, I like it. It sucks from a standpoint that there may not be anything else the rest of the year. But I think from like maybe a viewing standpoint, most sports have their seasons, and I just think it allows, like bowling right now, the tournaments are so sporadic. Your general viewers don't know when they're gonna happen, let alone some of the bowlers don't know when they're gonna happen. It's like, oh, like people ask me all the time, what PBA tournaments are you bowling? Is there anything left? Are you done for the year? What's going on? And I'm like, no, there's stuff to bowl. Like there's extra frame stuff, and there's this, there's that. Where if it was condensed in one season, I think people will start to understand, like, oh, the PBA bowls from January to June or something.
Right. Yeah.
So
maybe there'll be more like extra frame or regional stuff like in the latter half of the year as sort of an off-season type thing, and keep
That's what I was wondering, because I guess there aren't many regionals come January, February, March anyway, so they all kind of start. And I guess that won't be too bad, because only 24 people are making the PBA Tour Finals thing, so that leaves probably a bunch of guys left because regional season starts up April, May, June, July, August, I guess.
Yeah, what would be really cool is if you look at the schedule, there's still a few events that have 3 or 4 days off. What would be really nice is if you can get some of these local centers or whatever to maybe run a side event or something going on while we're like transiting between tournaments, and that'd be actually kind of cool to do. But that's
just to give us something to bowl, because that's all we're really looking for. Thing is, I was thinking about this. So the way bowlers live their lives right now, they bowl a tournament, maybe 2 in a row, and then they've got like 3 weeks off or something to bowl like amateur stuff or regionals, or they have other opportunity to make money. And I would say that opportunity is easier than trying to make checks on tour. It's a lot easier, actually. So
yeah, don't sugarcoat it. It's a lot easier.
So, but this way, you're basically grinding out those hard checks for 3 months straight.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, the mentality is going to be completely different. Like, it's going to be pretty cutthroat. And hopefully they give out a lot of checks. I kind of like to see that, just for the overall happiness of majority of the bowlers, is when they pay like 1 in 5, 1 in 6, man, that's just tough. Like, yeah, maybe one guy gets out good because he gets a lot of money at first, but majority of your bowlers aren't happy. So I'm hoping they pay down the scale pretty well, just to, I don't know, keep people happy.
Just so Brad can get some checks.
Just so I get some checks, man. Like, I'm good at finishing 30th. Just pay 30th.
Well,
yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be different.
Belmo's like, can we just have it 200 grand on the first?
Can we just pay the top 5 out of 3,000, please?
Mindsets completely.
I like having looking at like February or even like January. So let's go back and like we have we'll just assume the Hall of Fame Classic is like a national regular event. It's just being called the Hall of Fame Classic or whatever. And then you have the Oklahoma Open, the doubles, and you have Lubbock, tournament champions, players, Indianapolis, Jonesboro, and then World Series. So you're right. We're gonna be we're pretty much bowling a lot of stuff in about 8 weeks or so.
Yeah.
And I think Brad and I have had this conversation before about how it's such a hard mindset to go into some of these tournaments, because if you have like a bad week, you can't just shake it off and say, oh, I'll go into it next week and do it all over or try again. Like, you have to bowl well this week or else you don't get paid. Like, this is it. Like, we don't have another tournament after this. And I think it'd be nice to have this schedule set up, because we can go in there and say, if you bowl bad during the Hall of Fame, you're like, well, you know what? There's 6 more tournaments in the next 7 weeks that I don't have to worry about this. I just forget about it and move on or whatever.
Right. What I've heard a lot about the old days, what people explain what the difference is between now and the old days, is the old days when it was consistent. When people didn't cash, when they didn't make the cut, they'd stick around and they would practice the next days, because they have the practice pairs in between rounds of the round of 32 or whatever. When they're oiling, they let people practice. And so people would stick around, practice for the next 2 days, and then go to the next stop. Right. So they were constantly in grind mode. They were constantly in train mode. They were constantly they didn't have that break where they went home and hung out with the family for a couple of weeks, forgot about bowling, and now they're not really any better than they were the week before. No, they were constantly there training. And I remember Loshetter telling me that there was Like some events, there'd be like 40 or 50 people practicing before the next event, which is something you rarely see now. Simply because the next event can be a month from now. So I think that's cool. Is you're going to see a lot more of that, of people just like sticking around and they're there, and you're going to work with each other, and it's going to feel a lot more serious, I think, which is good.
Yeah. We're like for example, in February this year, I bowled bad at the Tournament Champions, and I bowled pretty well at Indianapolis. And I did that. I stuck around and I practiced at the center after hours or whatever. And my performances got better as the weeks went on because I was able to stick around and bowl in the actual patterns. I got to practice with other players, and I know specifically in Indianapolis, there was a lot of people practicing, both people bowling match play and not, like on Thursday or Friday, I think it was. And they had to kick us off the lanes because they were getting ready to start. Like we were bowling, and with this schedule, like that'd be pretty cool to see. And then I think the fans will appreciate that too, because they'll be able to see all the players bowling too that aren't in match play or whatever, like kind of behind the scenes type of thing. And it definitely showed. Like I bowled well at TPC, and I think that definitely helped me because like it takes the PBA game is so different than like bowling on the local stuff, like just the way the patterns break down and all that. That it takes time to get used to it again, almost because we have so much time in between stops that like I needed that practice on that pattern to get my hand or whatever in the right spot.
That's interesting. It's interesting you say like the fans will appreciate it more because the players will be there. I never even thought about that. Like the players will be sticking around. That's something you don't normally see now. Like if a player doesn't make the cut, they're usually going home immediately.
Yeah, like in Indy, like I think I bowled with Walter for a little bit, and like there were just people watching us practice, and it was cool. Like it was kind of it wasn't that like high strung environment that is like match play or whatever, and then. So the fans were able to interact with the players when they're a little bit more looser, a little bit more like friendly, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Right.
And all the players were friendly about it too, so that was really cool to see.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a change of pace. Yeah. That's for sure.